Hello Indie fans, the start of the year is always slow, but the wait is almost over. We get back into the full swing of things next week, but yet, we still have some awesome indie games coming out, so let's begin with Unless. A pixel art precision platformer that aims to bring an old school charm to the genre, having minimal story and no gimmicks, rather focusing on being a pure platformer with a letter rank grading system as well as co-op support and looks pretty charming. The developer of The Rangers in the South did reach out and I thought it looked ambitious, having that HD 2D look that those modern Square Enix games and remakes have, mixing 2D pixel art sprites with a 3D environment and world, and is an action roguelite title with a fantasy theme. You are exploring these huge open worlds, fighting enemies, discovering secrets, and visiting locations of interest, with roguelite procedural generation to keep things interesting in every run. Interestingly, this does not have predefined character classes, so you are not selecting from warrior, mage, archer, etc. when you begin, but rather are free to develop however you want based on hundreds of unique abilities, traits, and equipment. But do be aware that there is permanent death of your characters. However, there is some carryover between characters in terms of items, gold, and I suppose the knowledge from exploration, and looks like it might have potential. Alright, this is not a sponsored spot, but I want to shout out Rogue Loops this week who are releasing a demo on the 6th of January, an action roguelite that looks awesome and is said to take inspiration from Hades and Loop Hero. You are exploring these circular dungeons in order to fight your way out and are able to see the entire map at the start, allowing you to plan and strategize, which will be critical since in-run upgrades in this game come in a pair with a curse, so you are selecting both a buff and a debuff at the same time, which will affect the entire map. The action looks super sleek and the art fantastic, also having meta progression carryover from run to run, so if interested, definitely give the demo a try and wishlist the game. Love indie games? Sign up to my newsletter to get a weekly dose of what's hot, along with some news and of course, weekly game giveaways, so if interested, link is in the description below. Here's an interesting one since Builders of Egypt seems to have quite a number of Steam wishlists at the moment, an Egyptian-themed city builder that will of course be compared to Pharaoh and Cleopatra, but call me cynical since this has been on Steam at least since March 2018, initially under the name of Hard Ancient Life, which was swapped in 2019, with their publisher Playway specializing in simulation and city building titles, and I believe has spun up multiple studios in Poland under their banner, being able to redirect traffic from one Steam page to the next to boost their wishlist number. I watched an early gameplay video from friend of the channel GamerZark, and even on a 3080 card, the game was experiencing performance issues, so know that going in, but if you love the genre, this might be worth a look. Welcome to 2025, where Vampire Survivors inspired Bullet Heaven roguelites show no signs of slowing down, to the chagrin of some of you, but at least with Pinball Storm Lokanta, we have a slightly different twist since you are shooting up balls of all kinds which ricochet off walls and surfaces to blanket the entire play area and to take out your enemies in the process. Effects like multi-ball in this game are amplified even as compared to regular pinball tables, with a variety of elemental and status effects as well, and looks like the exact sort of dopamine hit that this subgenre is known for. Here is quite the curiosity since Sea Fantasy is an open-world action-adventure RPG with fishing as a main mechanic, in which two young men set off on a grand quest to catch the marine creatures of the world. You're able to explore this open world on your own ship, having to stop to explore dungeons on foot, and of course, to get to the best fishing spots, in which you are searching for fish shadows and then casting your line, having to press the button in a quick time event, which seems to be much less tedious than the fishing system in, say, Stardew Valley for example. Caught fish can be stripped for parts, so to speak, with a crafting system as well to create better rods and equipment. Interestingly, the developer does show a side-scrolling platforming section as well as a boss fight in which you are hurling boulders at the enemy, but combat doesn't appear to be the main focus here, instead focusing on fishing and exploration. As such, since I do love fishing in games, of course this title is of interest to me, so let's see if they can keep the game as a whole interesting based solely on this mechanic. Alright, this next title is not so indie, but people did lose their minds when Freedom Wars Remastered was announced, and again, developers, please have a gameplay trailer on Steam on the week of your release, where this is a third-person shooter from a behind-the-back camera angle that is the enhanced version of a PlayStation Vita exclusive from 2014. People absolutely love this game, so I'm interested to see what the reception would be like 11 years later, with the gimmick being that you have a million-year prison sentence and have to fight on the battlefield to reduce that, and is very anime. Here's an interesting looking third-person shooter, perhaps unimaginatively named Project Tower, which I thought was a code name but that has not changed, in which you need to fight your way to the top of the tower in order to regain your freedom. Interestingly, this has 3D bullet hell combat similar to Returnal, but mixes that with a shape-shifting ability where you can transform into alien creatures. It seems a little cobbled together from asset packs to me, but there might be an interesting game here, and you might be pleased to know that this is not a roguelite, so it is not run-based, but rather linear with distinct chapters and different areas, and seems cool. This title is technically from last week, but like I said, the start of the year is thin, so I've lumped 2 weeks together, in which Beyond Citadel is doing pretty well for itself, garnering almost 400 Steam reviews as of recording, which conservatively is about 8,000 copies sold, not bad for 3 days of being on sale. This is the follow-up to The Citadel from 2020, which is fairly popular in itself, both being throwback first-person shooters with anime inspiration. The Citadel is the last stronghold of mankind's resistance against the apocalypse, but it has fallen and is now under the control of the Trumpeters of the Apocalypse along with the surviving humans. You play as the Martyr, the last resort of the Seven Angels, who is guided by a mysterious signal to overthrow the Trumpeters and to free humanity, with the source of said signal being conveniently buried deep beneath the citadel itself. It has a variety of weapons of both the black powder variety as well as futuristic energy weapons, and hey, the numbers don't lie, so get this if you love the genre. This one's for indie game developers. The free indie game marketing resources are ready, so sign up via the link in the description below to get it in your mailbox. Another indie game that I have my eye on is S4U City Punk 2011 and Love Punch, a cozy adventure game set in the fictional city of Custer Yard in the year 2011. You play as Mickey, an architect by day, who also has a side hustle as a part-time online chat representative, and what that means is that you help clients in their online interactions. You are, for lack of a better term, catfishing the other person, literally using your keyboard to type in responses to the other characters and have to maintain multiple conversations at the same time, context switching between the different windows and to solve tricky situations. Based on the conversations shown in the trailer, this might be a little bit uncomfortable since one scenario has you helping a lady whose boss is hitting on her while still trying not to get her fired. On top of these, you're also working on architectural projects on your computer, so it's a unique work-life hybrid simulator thing since you're not just bound to your desk but can leave to go explore the city as well. The developers say that there will be over 300 choices to make, as well as 20 unique characters to get to know, as well as a mysterious password-protected zip file on your computer that is said to contain photos and memories, so there's a more personal story to tell as well.
Do you want to do some violent crimes?
Roguelite and first-person shooter fans are eating well at the start of the year, with Cruel being of note here. a game which I covered in my upcoming first-person shooters video, which is a boomer shooter but with a roguelite structure. You awaken in a bizarre hotel, and of course are trapped within, grabbing the nearest weapon out of the cold, dead hands of a lifeless body in the elevator and set out to explore. This has procedural generation of levels, of which there are supposed to be 10 core types, where you are running around blasting enemies and finding pickups, which I'm guessing should include ammo, where health in this game takes the form of soda cans which you can drink, but are also the currency for powerful upgrades, leading to an interesting risk-reward system. There's no mention of meta progression systems between runs, so it might be on the other side of the spectrum when it comes to progression in roguelites, of depending on your improvement in knowledge about enemies, weapons, and upgrades, rather than slowly increasing your health by 5% per level and so on, where I really do like the throwback look. A small update on Nun Holy here, since this action roguelite, in which you play as nuns killing vampires, was supposed to release on the 4th, but apparently the build submitted to Steam has been in review since the 22nd of December, with no update from them, which is probably due to people being on holiday. So with today, the 6th, being the day that most people are back to work, it should hopefully get approved and released later in the week, and looks like a good one of these. Watch this video for more upcoming action roguelites.